Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast, with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Thursday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Even my 9-year-old yesterday said, Dad, this is a daily yoga podcast. You never do any yoga on the podcast. It's the philosophy behind why we do what we do. It's the philosophy behind yoga and how to connect the soul, the jiva, with the divinity, my son.
Okay.
Did I tell you I was teaching my
like
son
that?
to debate vegetarianism?
You
with
mentioned
people?
that as we were coming off the air.
He's pretty good,
Moving
right?
the goalposts,
Yeah, he's very
logical fallacies,
Name calling.
straw men, arguments,
Yeah.
things like that.
Topic switching, ad hominem. He's becoming a good little debater.
Okay.
Talking
Ad
about
hominem.
protein myths and it's
That would be
good.
great training if as a kid you learned all the different logical fallacies and then you get quizzed on them as they're throwing them out there. You get really sharp.
And you know what you should be able to do? You should be able to go back and forth and choose different sides.
Oh, flip it.
Put
Then on the
yourself in other
side.
people's shoes and support.
Then you flip it.
Yeah. It just makes your brain a little more open-minded. How are you, Kastuba?
Prabhupada, he encouraged his followers, his disciples to, he said, get together and read his books and study them from many different angles. He said like that, many different angles. You know, read a verse and approach it from many different angles. I like that, you know? But that's kind of what we do on the show, maybe a little bit.
Well, I think it is what we do at the show. And what I first was attracted to Krishna consciousness is resurfacing now in my life. Even though Prabhupada was incredibly charismatic and very learned, etc., it definitively was not a cult of personality. He was teaching the ancient teachings of India, the Bhagavad Purana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, what we're doing right now. And he would always say, listen, it's not me. I'm not God. Don't let people say they're God. It is a process. You like what I have? You can have it. You like it? You can have it. He's not like, there's this divine saintly man and we're all these plebeian fools scrubbing around in the dark. No, you like it. You can also elevate your consciousness. And because he's referring to sacred literature, he's pushing us in that direction. And I tell you, it's so frustrating because today I see bigger than ever, and people are desperate for some type of light in their life. And people come off as guru figures. We're not pushing people towards the Bhagavatam. They themselves are enlightened beings. They're self-manifested enlightened beings. And I'm just going to have to call baloney on it. You know, or at least it's if you're self-enlightened, at least it should hold up to some Vedic truths, or you're leaving a lot of room to get really cheated and really ripped off.
Yeah. Are
it's
you
like
a
me not knowing what an avocado? It's like me not knowing what an avocado is and trying to like buy an avocado. You know, avocados have to be sort of like I did that with persimmons, my favorite fruit, persimmons, and I never knew what they were supposed to be like. So I ate a persimmon that was hard as a rock, and I was like, these are the worst fruits I've ever had. And if you've ever had an unripe persimmon, they're incredibly astringent. And then after many years of neglecting persimmons, someone said, no. There's a way to determine what the gold standard of like a good persimmon is. It's got to be so muddy and ripened that it almost looks like it's bad. And if you eat that persimmon, it is the best food you'll ever eat. So
you changed your story after that.
I changed my story, my favorite fruit. Now it's sort of like the Bhagavatam. What we're studying today sharpens discernment. We're supposed to question. We're supposed to ask. We're supposed to sort of in a inquiring way, sort of challenge these things. That's how you grow. It sharpens your intelligence, not just blindly accept. Look at him. He's got beautiful long hair. He wears beautiful flowing robes. He must be a guru. People are desperate to find some light. You need to develop our discernment, and that's what we do. That's what I think we're doing on the show. Huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good.
You were mentioning something right before we got on the air today about piles of karma.
Oh yeah, we're dealing with piles of karma, aren't we? Oftentimes, Jiva G says this. She's like, our parents have left a big pile of poop on your front doorstep. What are you going to do with it? You can like walk around it. You can shovel it off. But basically, we're inheriting karma. Some people didn't inherit money from their parents. They just inherited some karma that they have to deal with. And whatever it is, you have to figure out.
That's not on the parents. That's on the person, right?
Well, it's both. It's both. Yeah. Real responsibility is we got born into that family. You hate your parents. Guess what? You chose them. You got born into that karma due to your past activities. So now what are you going to do with it? You're right. It's a good point. Like we can blame our parents. Well, that's why I'm like this. No, you actually chose it. My kid said that to me once. My older stepkid said, I never asked to be born. Did you ever say that to your parent? I was never asked to be born. And I was like, well, that's your theory. My theory is you did ask to be born and you asked for me as a parent. So take that with you. And that's part of our karma. We're just dealing with some karma that we were given, or we created. How about that? We created. Let's be responsible. And now what are we going to do about it? That's the real question. Okay.
So I was checking out something yesterday. You know, we talked a little bit yesterday about kutam, right? We're talking about how there's this cycle of it starts with your desire, then comes the action, then comes the karma, both manifest and unmanifest. But then this other kind of the next step in the cycle is this kutam, is this you get you through doing the particular action, part of the karmic reaction to it is you get a predisposition to continue that kind of walk down that path again. And I was wondering where this word kutam, where does it come from? I just tried to do a little research. I'm not sure if I got it right. But one word for like kuta is heaps, like a heap. Like for instance,
like a pile.
A pile, like anakut, like we just had Govardhan Puja, right?
Oh,
where they pile up a big pile of food. Right, they make a big offering to Govardhan Hill. They make a big, huge pile of
the
food.
Anakut festival. Okay.
Anakut. So perhaps that kuta means we have this karma just piled up. We have these predispositions, big heap of them, you know, and that's kind of what we got to try to
heap of good and bad dispositions. We talked about dispositions yesterday. Yeah, we're trained like that, and if we're trained in bad ways, it's problematic in our bhakti. It's like we bring these bad habits into sacred circles. That's a problem. That's a problem. So it's really a practice of transformation, and it actually works. It actually works.
Okay. Well, speaking of it working, here's Mara. She's completely transformed and purified through this practice.
Look at this woman.
She used to come in and look at your Sheilas and say, "What is this guy doing?
He's worshiping rocks.
Worshiping rocks. It's crazy." And now she's knitting.
Now look at her. She's decorating the rocks. She's like, "Can I put the flowers on the rocks today?"
It's true. Some announcements today. We have back to your cover group meetings at noon and 1:30.
Okay. We got Yogi Chiru.
Oh yeah, and Yogi Chiru on Sunday.
All right.
Q&A
Very
on
good.
Saturday. Not too late
Yep.
to get a question in.
Yeah, they can email us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com.
And here comes Gus in the back, limping along. Oh, Gus. All right, you got a nugget?
Oh, have I got a nugget for you? This
This
nugget
man needs
is
no introduction.
from a person you and I think this person would like me. His name is Martin Luther King Jr.
You always say,
Oh, I think he would like me.
okay.
As my sufferings
Hold it.
mounted.
So did you even say it clearly? Is Martin Luther King Jr. That's who this is coming from.
That's what I said.
I think you hardly articulated it.
Okay. As my sufferings mounted, I soon realized that there were two ways in which I could respond to my situation. You got to understand, he probably was going through personal hell before there was like real cancel culture and before there was a lot of like internet gossip and message boards. It was still real. There was a lot of like communal hate and communal support. And whenever you get in the public eye like that with something controversial, it's like,
Well, I mean, there was lynching. There was
Yeah.
things
Well,
like that going
that's
on.
part of
Police
hate. That's part of
brutality,
hate.
extreme police brutality, the KKK. There's things like
Yeah.
that too.
So there's there's fear for your life, fear for your family, and so you imagine what the mind must be like going through all that. So he said,
No
I
doubt.
either had to reach with bitterness or seek to transform the suffering.
React. Either had to react.
Oh, react. I'm sorry, I said reach. Either had to react with bitterness or to seek to transform the suffering into a creative force. I decided to follow the latter course. That's
So read it
beautiful,
all
isn't it?
again. Read it all one more time.
As my sufferings mounted, I soon realized that there were two ways in which I could respond to my situation. Either react with bitterness or to seek to transform the suffering into a creative force. I decided to follow the latter course.
Yeah. And when he says creative, that can mean a lot. I think generally when we use that word, we think of like, oh, you'd start painting or something like that. But
I
think
started
creative,
a pottery class.
Yeah. And it could be that, it could be creative in that sense. But I think also creative, like, let me build something, let me create something positive out of this. And when I read this today, Raghunath,
Yeah,
I thought that someone like Martin Luther King he's like just this rare individual who played such an important historic role.
right.
And I think, we were raised watching movies of heroes and reading books about heroes and seeing heroes portrayed in different ways. And we think, well, my life's not like that. My life is just this little thing that nobody knows about. Maybe if I was in the situation of one of these heroes, I could step up and have a dynamic life, but my life's not dynamic.
Sure.
My life is kind of boring and ordinary and normal and even, just mundane.
Yeah.
But I think this works on all levels. In other words, we're all suffering in one way or another. Maybe we're not suffering the way some of the heroes do. But heroes' lives are also there to inspire us to make the most of our own. And
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, we're all suffering in some way or another. And sometimes that suffering is, it's not as inspiring or heroic, is what others go through, but it's very real, and it can weigh one down, and one can easily become bitter. But we were talking the other day about, it's been on my mind a lot lately, Raghu.
Tell me.
This I don't know. I feel a little inspiration in this way. The idea of almost like, I think as we mature, as we grow older, hopefully, particularly practicing bhakti, it's like there should be nothing in the day that we do without a certain kind of depth to it, a certain focus to it, a certain mindfulness to it, that's connecting it to our offering to Krishna. So Prabhupada would commonly say, we should be Krishna conscious 24 hours a day. Okay, but I've got to bathe, I got to cook a meal, I got to clean up. You do all of those things in a mindful way. What to speak of when you sit down to chant japa, and when you start to make everything in your life. So when he says, okay, you know, I got sufferings, I'm like, yeah, we all do. And we can all say, man, I got to go to work and do something that I don't even feel like doing just so that I can survive and support my family. And I got to do it with people that really are zero inspiration. They really kind of seem to just drag my consciousness down. I am suffering. And you can either react with bitterness, or you can transform that suffering into a creative force. Like, let this circumstance drive me to go deeper into spirituality, to go deeper into what I hear through the shastra, to go deeper into my meditations, and let me transform this circumstance, even in a little way, you know, but let me get creative. Let me build something beautiful. Let me go through this, and whether it can be small things, you know, how we approach the day, the mood, the disposition that we approach it with, how we can shine under any kind of circumstance.
I like that. You know, when I read this, it brought me right back to, like, we may not have to fight the KKK in our lifetime or go after these people who are lynching. That may not be our mountain we have to climb, or fight for equal rights, but we will get times in our life where there's a force that seems like an abominable snowman coming after us. And it's maybe through legal issues, or you know, something on the internet, or a divorce or something like that, where you got someone who's like head to head going against you, and it might feel like the weight of the world. Sometimes people, you know,
more than one
so,
person can handle.
Yeah, and I went right back to when I was going through divorce, which was incredibly painful because it's tied with so many threads of emotion, like a fabric is just being torn apart, and there's hurt, and there's feels like betrayal, and there's feel like you're broken, and you feel like, why is this going to happen, and what a lousy example, and then there's a little bit of friction on one side. I remember Radha Swami's just advice to me, and I think I've said it before, is listen, you have to go through this quickly, without any resentment, without any spite, and without any desire for revenge. Even if, you know what I mean? And these are what we call common human emotions. Yeah. They're not common human emotions. They are material being emotions based in my ego, cutting God out of the picture, like there's not some divine hand behind it all, but they're real emotions. And I think whether a person's spiritual or not, if they hang on to that simple advice, it can save them when they're going through their own, you know, personal, you know, revolutionary war. We all have to face some little like civil war, revolutionary war at some point in our life.
Well, this is perfect, Raghunath, because I see what you just described as a creative force. In other words, what you were creating through that you had like this hell to walk through. And it's kind of like the whole hero story kind of thing, right? You went to the mentor, someone who's wise and someone who's removed from the situation, who's not clouded with the passions that are weighing on you. And that person can give you exactly what you need to hear, right? Mm-hmm. Say it again. Go through it. And
no spite, no resentment, no revenge.
Okay.
But
and
like
so then you're like,
what useful advice that was.
And that's as you're in the heat of it, then you remember that, you reflect on that, right? Mm-hmm. You embrace it. And then the idea is, what is it? How is that a creative force? What you're creating through that is you are reshaping your own cognitive faculty here, your own mind, and you're changing it from its warped, you know, kind of manifestation into a manifestation that's harmonious with your own true spiritual nature, right?
Yeah, because going down my path, I would have gone down that path directly, even though deep down I know that's not right. I would have definitely gone down that path.
Rationalized.
But now he put that out there, and I just hit a bumper, and now I have to like recalibrate, rerouting. The GPS has to reroute me. Okay, how can I take those emotions and realize there's something deeper going on? I have to move forward, but not with those emotions. and it changed the route on the GPS, and it made me deal with things that were like incredibly painful in just in a better light. And by the way, I'm not saying that she didn't have to go through.
You
those
actually
things
did what he
herself.
suggested?
No, I felt like I did. I dropped
Okay.
the ball a few times because
Okay.
it's a long process. I'm not trying to say like I'm perfect and
Right.
partners going through their problems. Everyone feels this pain. Everyone's got their own sides of the story.
Okay, but I like the idea of what are we creating? We're creating the devotional disposition, which is
Oh,
harmonious
that's
with
it.
the nature of the self.
A
right?
devotional
That's what we're creating.
disposition, a devotional
Yeah.
path.
And that's going to serve you so well through whatever you have to go through in life.
You know, that's why it's important also to have living mentors in your life. People say, "Oh, who needs a guru?" I read these books, they're my guru. Yeah, that's true. But I know in the course of a day, course of a week, course of a month, I want to go to a friend, a teacher, an elder that I can go to and say, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this? I'm thinking A. Are you thinking B? Or are you thinking A too?" Well,
Thinking
you know,
C.
Raghu, you're a little attached to A and B. There's a C there too. You're not seeing the C. And due to our attachment, we can't see a better path. So I love the idea of living mentors, living friends. I hate the idea of dead friends, living friends, and living teachers who give you valuable, direction. I want that. I invite it in my life. There's a whole theory of people like, no, we can't have any guru. There's only one guru. Prabhupada's our only guru. I find that a stale philosophy, personally.
Okay.
I want Vaishnavas, teachers in my life, and at the same time, on the same time, we give instruction also when people come to us. We try to walk with integrity in this world, and people will come to you and they'll be like, "I like the way you walk. Ask me. Here's what I'm thinking. What do you think?" And so it doesn't end with me just asking the questions. People will come to me and ask me a question as well. And that's our job as Vaishnavas. People will come to you and say, "What do you think about this?"
Yeah, I like that, Raghu.
I like you.
Okay. Shall we get into it?
I like you a lot.
Easy there, guy.
I like you very much. My friend. Narayanam namaskritya naram shaiva devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam dirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. I did it. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Midatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know what? That was exactly those instructions: no bitterness, no resentment, no spite. That was what we just said. All that is troublesome to the heart. My heart was troubled, and that relinquished that pain to the degree that I just let go of those things. Thank you. Thank you, teacher. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, Text 45. Okay.
Demigods praying they're praying to Narayan, to Lord Vishnu. But in this verse,
Yeah,
they're going to call him Krishna.
O Lord, O Supreme Pure, you live within the core of everyone's heart and observe all the desires and activities of the conditioned souls. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Lord Krishna, your reputation is bright and illuminating. You have no beginning, for you are the beginning of everything. This is understood by pure devotees because you are easily accessible to the pure and the truthful.
That's big. Let's get back to that.
You are easily accessible to the pure and the truthful. So that's our work, right?
Yeah.
Purity and truthfulness.
Okay.
When the conditioned souls are liberated and sheltered at your lotus feet, after roving throughout the material world for many millions of years, hard to believe, isn't it? They attain the highest success of life. We've been roving around the material world. Isn't that interesting? Roving around, sniffing around like Rover the dog. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we offer respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. I mean, if we really got what that means, that we're just wandering around for lifetimes, making mistakes, falling in love, having some kids, something happens, something, an anvil falls on my head, take another birth. Now whatever you're obsessed with, you get born into that. Isn't that interesting? Get born into that. You're obsessed with you hate blacks or you hate whites, you become born black or white. You hate the Russians, you become born a Russian. Whatever you're hating, because hating is the most powerful type of meditation, isn't it?
That would be interesting. Oh, I can't even talk about, because I won't say. I once saw a drama. It was written by a friend, and he played with that idea of how people being born in the next life into what they were obsessed with or what they hated. Interesting. Being born into it. But I think that's a great idea to play with,
Sure.
in art.
Because you're meditating on
drama.
it. Yum yum vapi smaram babam tyajanti antikalevaram, right? Whatever you're meditating on.
Yeah, that you'll become without fail. And I think there's some I think even Srila Prabhupada mentions it in some commentary, but I think sometimes in the yoga tradition they give the example of some insect that's being attacked by a wasp. It's like cornered.
Oh yeah.
Right? And it dies like just in total fear of the wasp, and then it takes birth as a wasp in the next life. You heard something like that?
No, but maybe that's how animals progress. I'm not sure. But it's interesting. Okay. It's interesting. There's a problem with hate.
You become the animal that killed you.
Yeah. All right.
But interesting here, and this is something that we talk about sometimes, but we often talk about, sometimes we've talked about the idea that, for instance, attachment clouds our truth perception, right? If we're too attached, then even the truth is being spoken to us, we can't take it in, because if it contradicts what our desire is, we find ways to rationalize it out, justify not buying into it, Here we got kind of the flip side. This is understood by pure devotees because you're easily accessible to the pure and truthful. That this is what opens up the channels of perception, right? Particularly here we're speaking channels of perception of God, of the Supreme. Purity meaning I'm coming with no agenda, no personal attachments. I don't want anything from you. I'm coming out of love. I'm coming truthfully, right? Nothing hidden, no baggage. That's
baggage
that's
is
what we're
the
going
stuff
for.
That clouds the
truth perception.
Truth perception, and a lot of that comes with these simple things we talk about. The desire to find fault with other people, critical people, resenting people. That clouds our ability to become pure, and then the compass is all askew. And so, there's that analogy of the definition, the Latin word for sincere.
Yeah. Without wax,
right? It's a great little analogy. I've never said it on the show, I don't think, but so the Latin word for sincere is without wax, which means when they used to sell marble in the old days, the without cracks would be the worth the most.
Without those grains in it, right? Like if you got a pure white piece of marble without like the color kind of in it,
adulterated by color. So they would take wax and they'd smear it either over the blackness or over the I
think they would chip it out. They would chip out that vein of color in the white wax and then fill it in with white wax.
The problem was as soon as it melts, like in the heat, it becomes revealed. Oh, I just purchased something and had a streak. So when you want marble that's sincere, it's without wax. So we have to be without this pretense. I'm coming to Krishna without any agenda. I'm coming to Krishna without, in my most genuine form, my most vulnerable form, without any agendas of I'm better than this person. Who do they think they are? I'm hanging on to some hate in my heart. When I relinquish all these things, then I can approach Krishna in a very vulnerable, real way. And then all of a sudden, the lens becomes more in focus. Krishna becomes more and more visible to me.
Easily understood.
Easily understandable
Easily
by
accessible.
the pure and the truthful. Easily
You know,
accessible.
one of the beauties, the real beautiful thing about Bhagavatam, especially for us in our dented can circumstances, is it's going to keep driving home this message. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're born, what species, gender, whatever. All Krishna's not interested in any of that.
Nope.
Krishna's just interested in that pure, truthful, right? Pure and true, sincere.
Yep.
Motive, pure love is what I come with. Now, what's happening here is like all these demigods, all these devas, they are respected throughout the universe for their dharma, for their piety, for their good karma, how they've done all the right things to rise to that position, for their power, for their beauty, their fame. They've got a lot going for them. And in their minds, they're like, and Krishna, Vishnu, we do it all for you. Right? We do it all for you because we love you. But what's being shown is when they're put under pressure, they're full of attachments. And so when they approach Lord Vishnu, they're like, Lord Vishnu, you're great, you're wonderful, you do this, please destroy our enemies now, right? It's like they're not coming with that. Now, what we're going to see is that
deal with pressure. You know that song?
Unfortunately, I do.
Imagine like demigods are acting. That's the music video. They're under pressure.
And so, but what's going to happen next, and it's really going to play out in this next chapter, is that we're going to see this demon. We've already heard a description of him, right? He's terrifying. He's massive. He's got like, I think he had like copper colored hair and eyes, and he's like breathing, fire practically. And he's massive,
monstrous.
And he's born, he is a creation of the demons, sent to kill Indra, and incredibly frightful and terrifying. He seems like he's everything that that's unholy. You back, Rogan?
I froze.
Did you hear me? Yeah.
I
was saying Vritrasura, he seems like he embodies everything that's unholy. He's born of the demons. He's terrifying. He's there to kill Indra. But what's going to happen is, and we're going to read this all in the next chapter, he's going to be the opposite of Devas, whereas he's going to come and say, Lord Vishnu, whatever you want from me, I accept. That's pure. He's pure and truthful. He's got no agenda. He's like, if you want me to be the bad guy in this, I'll be the bad guy. If you want me to get killed here, I'm yours. You are everything. My only desire in life is to love you purely. If that's what you wish, I accept it. And we're going to see that this, it's almost like if you're one of the devas, you just got to look and say, what? It's like,
right.
That the terrible demon just showed us up completely. He was pure. We're not. Who am I? And it's just the Bhagavatam's relentless kind of progressive, turning the traditional dharmic paradigms upside down.
It flips it all the time.
Yeah.
Here's a great soul born in demonic families.
All right.
Okay.
Text 46.
Text 46, text 46, text 46. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, O King Prickett, when the demigods offered the Lord their sincere prayers in this way, the Lord listened by his causeless mercy. Being pleased, he then replied to the demigods.
All right.
Supreme Personality of God had said, O beloved demigods, you have offered your prayers to me with great knowledge, and I'm certainly most pleased with you.
Little pat on the head. Right? Little pat there.
The person
Okay.
is liberated by such knowledge, and thus he remembers my exalted position, which is above the conditions of material life. Such a devotee is fully purified by offering prayers in full knowledge. This is the source of devotional service to me.
Okay, now
Well-
watch this, Roger. Hold. So he just gave him a little pat on the head. Okay, you said nice prayers. You know, you spoke something of who I am and what my position is, and so on, like that, as the root of all existence and all that. Well done. But now he's going to just, well, read the next verse and we'll see.
O best of the intelligent demigods, although it is true that nothing is difficult for one to obtain when I am pleased with him, a pure devotee whose mind is exclusively fixed upon me does not ask me for anything but the opportunity to engage in devotional service. That's the gold
Okay.
standard.
And he's saying, so that's, you guys, you know what, you're saying that you love me, this, that, but you don't really. And
It's
that's why
transactional love.
this is transactional. You know, it's how unfortunate you praise me with all this knowledge of truth, but then you turn around and you begin to ask me for material things. Why didn't you pray for bhakti?
There's
Why
such a
didn't you?
desire for pure love in the heart of all hearts. And we want our relationships in this world to be unconditional love. But we're conditioned beings, you know? But it's almost like innate within us. We want, and it's almost like we're being pruned to figure it out. Okay,
Well,
you want conditioned love? We're going to train you to we're going to train you here to be unconditional lovers.
Raghunath, what you just said, that, quite frankly, that is the entire purpose to this world. Like, we come into it saying we want to enjoy, and Krishna says, okay, I'll give you the enjoyment that you want, but I'm also going to design it in such a way where it moves in such a way to constantly prune you, give you the opportunity, help kind of prod you down the path of becoming pure, unconditional lovers. That we could say that that's the entire point of human life, or of life in the material world, is to get us back to that. Here in this verse, Krishna uses a few terms, like he says here, Maye kanta matir nanyan. Mai means in me, ekanta, exclusively fixed, mati, whose mind, whose attention, those whose attention are fixed exclusively on me, right? Not anyat, without any other focus. This is yoga, but this is a yoga of love, right? He's talking about having attention entirely fixed in one place, and he's saying that the proper place to fix that yogic focus is on me. And those yogis that have placed we talk about that in yogic language. We also talk about that in the language of love, right? Like, I love you and no other, you know, like that kind of thing, right? I'm
Right.
yours entirely.
It's what we want so bad.
Yeah, it's that kind of mood that Krishna's saying. When Krishna is demanding that kind of exclusive focus or exclusive love, it's for the benefit of the soul. And what it does is, it's not a selfish thing, because it's like saying, when you're entirely focused on me, because I am everything, you focus your love on everyone, because everyone's made of my energy, everyone's connected by me. I'm the one that gives life to every living being. When you connect with me, you connect with everything, like watering the root of the tree. If you focus your attention elsewhere besides me, then your love becomes so limited, and it becomes focused on a temporary object. You're doomed to suffer that way. So bring it to me. He's saying that those who are like that, those who have this exclusive mind, attention exclusively focused on him, basically this is where the Gita is kind of sending us again and again. You know, like the Gita uses verses like he uses phrases like ananyas chintayanto mam, right? But those who worship me with exclusive
Yeah.
devotion, right? Or at the end of the 6th chapter, yoginam apisarvesham madgaten antaratmana, those who are focused on me, deep within themselves. This is the bhakti that the Gita is pointing to. And then, in the beginning of the 7th chapter, in reference to that previous verse, he's saying those are the highest yogis at the end of the 6th chapter. And then he says, at the beginning of the 7th chapter, now hear from me, Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, right? That with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. There's this idea of exclusiveness, that my mind's going exclusively to you. This is the idea of what true love is. And it's it's such a beautiful thing, because there's a verse I learned from Bhagavatam. It's one of the first verses I ever learned from Bhagavatam.
Tell me.
It's I think it's from the 9th canto, and it's I'm see if I'm gonna pull it up here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Sadhavo hridayam mayam. Do you know this one? You ever heard this before? No. Sadhunam hridayam tvaham. Right, Sadhavo hridayam mayam. The pure devotees are in the core of my heart. Sadhunam hridayam tvaham, and I'm always in the heart of my pure devotee. All right, and then mad anyat, same word here, anyat, right? Mad anyat te najanati, naham te byo managapi. My devotees do not know anything else but me. I do not know anything else but them. So when our love is focused entirely on Krishna, it's not just like we're being taken advantage of. He's saying, no, my attention is entirely focused on you, but he has the capability to entirely focus on every living being, whereas we don't. We can focus on one maybe. And this is why, this idea of sadhu ninda,
offending sadhus.
Offending sadhus, when you offend sadhus, you really offend. If you offend Krishna directly, it doesn't even touch him really. But when you offend his devotees, because he has the devotees in his heart, that most tender, vulnerable place, when you offend the devotees, Krishna feels that, right? That's
Just
what
like
he
if
really
you
can't
offend
bear.
somebody's child, it evokes more anger and frustration and spite, as opposed to offending the parent themselves.
Yeah, right. So this verse is just a little bit of Krishna. It's like he's saying, okay, you're a little bit evolved. It's nice. You come to me when you're in trouble. You offer nice prayers. That was nice. Maybe someday you'll come up a step higher. You'll let go of and you won't pray to me for anything material. You'll pray out of love. I'm waiting for that day when you come to me with nothing but love. And then in the next chapter, the demon's going to do exactly that. He's gonna come with nothing, with no agenda whatsoever. All right.
Let's do another. Those who think material assets to be everything, or to be the ultimate goal of life, are called kripanas, misers.
Yeah.
They do not know the ultimate necessity of the soul. Moreover, if one awards that which is desired by such fools, he must also be considered foolish.
Oh, they're like, you imagine how they feel right now. It's like they're like, let's give these abundant prayers. We're going to praise him like anything. We're going to ask for what we want. And then he's just saying, like,
those who think material assets to be everything or to be the ultimate goal of life are called kripanas, misers.
Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but what you're asking me for is the kind of thing that's desired by fools, and therefore we must consider all of you, Indra, all your friends over here. You're foolish. You're foolish.
It's like our whole life growing up was based on this concept of ask Santa what you want for Christmas. It's like, please give me this, please give me that, please give me this. Here's my list of desires.
It's childish. Yeah.
A pure devotee who is fully accomplished in the science of devotional service, bhakti, will never instruct a foolish person to engage in fruitive activities for material enjoyment, not to speak of helping him in such activities. Such a devotee is like an experienced physician who never encourages a patient to eat food injurious to his health, even if the patient desires it.
Okay. So this is going right to the heart of Karma Kunda, right to the books that teach about ritual for the purpose of material enjoyment. He's saying someone that really understands life, has a deep spiritual understanding, they won't encourage someone to perform ritual for material things. What to speak of, like, what did he say? They will not instruct them to do that. What to speak of, engage them in those kind of things.
Right.
It's like if I'm a doctor and I'm encouraging you to eat junk food because you want it. No, a good doctor understands this is not really what's most healthy for you.
Right.
Now comes the instruction. They need to be saved from Ritrasur, who they're terrified of. And he's like, okay, that you prayed for me to protect you from this demon. I'm going to tell you how you go about this. I'll give you the information. I'm going to tell you how you can kill Ritrasura. But Ritrasura is going to end up the hero of the story. And in order to do that, they have to approach the exalted saint. We'll read about it now. Dadichi.
Text 51. Oh, Indra, all good fortune unto you. I have advised you to approach the exalted saint, Dadichi, who has become very accomplished in knowledge, vows, and austerities, and his body is very strong. Go ask him for his body without delay.
So I know that I've read somewhere, and I would like to do a little research on it, but it's saying that you need a weapon. What's happened is everything that they've thrown at Ritrasur, it's just kind of it's not ineffective. And they're saying you need a weapon that's so strong, that's so deadly. And the only way that you the material that we need to do this, you need the bones of this sage Dadichi. That's the only thing that's got like that inherent power in it. So it puts Indra in a very awkward position. And I think I've read somewhere, and again, I would like to see if I can find this. Maybe Nityananda can help us or something. Nityananda Chandra. But I think in the past, Indra has had some issues with Dadichi. So I think to humble himself in front of Dadichi is kind of like really making him eat a lot of humble pie.
Okay.
Or like, hi, it's me again.
Once again.
I'm afraid of my enemies, and I'm asking you, this person that's got like no issues because you're so saintly, to give up your own body so that I can use it, so that I can maintain my position as the king. And then they preach to him on the basis of knowledge why he should do that, even though they're the ones that are kind of lacking in knowledge.
Okay. That saintly Dadichi, who is known personally assimilated the spiritual science and then delivered it to the Ashvini Kumars. It's given a backstory now. It is said that Dadichi gave them mantras through the head of a horse. What?
That's one way to do it.
That's one. Therefore, the mantras are called Ashvashira. After obtaining the mantras of spiritual science, Dadichi, the Ashvini Kumars, became Jivan Muktas, liberated in this life.
Well,
Dadichi's invincible protective covering, known as the Narayan Kavacha, was given to Twasta, who delivered it to his son, Vishvarup.
Remember him, the one you just cut the head off of?
Yeah. From whom you have received it. Because of this Narayan Kavacha, Dadichi's body is now very strong. You should therefore beg him for his body.
It's almost like even the mention of his name from Lord Vishnu. It's like there's something you've done in your life that's really embarrassing. And then you're standing in front of Lord Vishnu, and and in order to get the help that you want from me, he has to mention that person's name. Like as soon as he mentioned the name of Vishvarupa, Indra must have been like, "Oh
God, yeah, I remember."
Who am I? What have I done?
What have I done? It's a classic. What have I done?
Yeah. So Vishnu is just smiling, and I can help you. Remember that person that he's not even chastising him. He's not even, but just by mentioning that name, it must be going right to the heart. Like that person. This was, the father of the person that you killed. Had this mantra that Dadichi was chanting. So now go to Dadichi. It's like, he must be walking out of there with his tail between his legs.
All right, we've got 2 more verses
for the chapter.
Yeah, let's finish it. When the Ashvini Kumars beg for Dadichi's body on your behalf, he will surely give it give it because of affection. Do not doubt this, for Dadichi is very experienced in dharma, or religious understanding. When Dadichi awards you his body, Vishvakarma will prepare a thunderbolt from his bones. This thunderbolt will certainly kill Vritasura because he will be invested with my power. Because it will be invested with my power.
So it's got the power of the Narayana Kavacha in those bones and this weapon that they're going to build. And again, here, it's just like saying, you know what, Indra, you can go to him, and because he's beyond all this, all the things that weigh on your mind, all the attachments, all the prestige, he's not into that. So he'll surely do this for you.
He'll give up his whole body for you.
He'll give up his body for you so that you can be the king.
Yeah, get what you want, do whatever you want. When Vritasura is killed because of my spiritual strength, you will regain your strength, weapons, and wealth. Thus, there will be all good fortune for all of you.
There you go. You'll get strength, you'll get weapons, you'll get wealth. You won't get pure devotion.
Sure. Although Vritasura can destroy all the three worlds, do not fear that he will harm you. He is also a devotee and will never be envious of you.
It's just like...
It's a beautiful quality of devotees. They're not envious of others' power, good fortune, success.
And he's just saying, yeah, he's kind of been hanging out with the demons, but he's got all the qualities of a devotee like you don't have. So it's going to be easy for you because he's not at all attached like you. So like Indra. So again, it's being highlighted for us here. The anxiety, the humiliation of mixed devotion, of when on one hand we're devotees, but on the other hand we're hanging on to stuff. That's Indra's circumstance.
That's it today.
All right,
we gotta go. Mara,
we got Mara.
You have some goody good nuggets for us?
Yeah,
good nuggets.
Yeah. Approach Bhagavatam from many different angles.
Yep.
Yes, different angles. Everybody get together, approach it from different angles.
We've got a big heap of good and bad karma.
We got a big heap.
Seek to transform our suffering.
Okay.
We all have to face our own revolutionary war. Do so without spite, resentment, or revenge.
Ooh.
Revolutionary war.
Create a devotional disposition.
That's what we create with,
devotional disposition. I like that.
Purity and truthfulness allows access to Krishna.
Oh.
Just pray for pure bhakti.
Just pray for that. Nothing else.
We're being pruned and prodded to become unconditional lovers.
That's right.
Devotees are never envious.
They don't play like that.
And we've been roving the material world for lifetimes.
Like Grover.
Like Rover.
Like Grover.
Is it Prabhupada's disappearance today?
It's maybe where you are, not where I am.
I missed that memo.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us here. Oh, nice. Beautiful people. I don't get a chance to thank people all the time, but when I read those wisdom sages, so many people support us financially. We're incredibly grateful. That's the only way this thing can keep going, and we like to invest more and more time into this wisdom sages, and we have a very beautiful community. I want to thank everybody. If you like what we're doing and you want to support us, it's all community supported. That's the only way. We're not getting a kickback from anybody. It's people like you who feel like, you know what? This is worth $5. This is worth $10. This is worth $108. You go to patreon.com/wisdomsages. Show your support. Thank you very much for all you do it. Everybody, hands in the air. Let's sway. Right.